Welcome in to That's a Tap with CT and DJ here live together for our recap of UFC 300. DJ, how you doing?
Good to see you, my man. I mean, big card. Obviously, we got to pull out the big guns too. So we're in studio doing this together. So good to see you. Good to see you in person. There's nothing between us, which is great.
Yeah.
Thank you also to all the love you guys showed for our previous one, which was the interview with one of the up-and-coming boxers, Adam Spall. So thank you for that. Definitely appreciate it. Yeah, man, like we're here to talk about UFC 300, the big card. Sunday was, what a day. What a day for us. I mean, we started early. We planned for it. I mean, probably the earliest I've got up on a Sunday, man. You know, you can't miss the first fight of the night when it's Davis and Figueiredo and Cody Garbrandt going at it. Former champion versus former champion. Yeah, man, like the card delivered. Arguably one of the best cards in a very long time. Easily ranks in the top 5 of all time UFC, not just UFC, all combat sport cards. Man, look, yeah. What did you think? What did you think of UFC 300?
I was so happy, in terms of what we saw from top to bottom.
Yeah.
It delivered in terms of the depth of the card.
Yeah.
We thought it would be one of the deepest card from top to bottom, and then that's exactly what we got.
Yeah.
But there was standouts, there was good knockouts, there was stories to come out of it. Jim Miller, I mean, there's so many things that you forget that actually happened,
But-
man. Like it was 2 cards in one. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. 3 cards in one, maybe.
Yeah.
Even, But hey, let me ask you straight at the top of the episode. There's so many oh my god moments there, right? I feel like I know your answer, but I'm still gonna ask. Throughout the entire card, today, 3 days from the event, if I were to say UFC 300, what's the one moment that comes into mind?
Man, it was probably Armin getting into it
What?
with a fan in the crowd.
No way!
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
What is it?
It was, it was the fight that you didn't, get excited about, really.
Fuck, man. Yeah, I know. Like, the BMF fight. Look, hey, has my sentiments about that changed? No, I still.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean? Look, now we probably will never get to see Justin Gaethje fight for a title again. It came at a very high price, but man, was it worth it?
Yeah.
That is. If anyone had any doubts about the BMF title and having that title in play, all this kind of stuff, man, this is it. This is what BMF stands. I mean, we'll talk more about it when we talk about the fight, but absolutely, man. How can you? That's a fight that echoed across the whole universe, I reckon. Everyone's talking about it, even non-MMA fans, man. Like that fight brought in more fans to the UFC and for Max Holloway.
Yeah. Is it a top 5? Let me ask you: is it a top 5 viral moment in UFC history? Like for you, like of all the viral moments, it could be a guy breaking his leg.
Yeah.
It could be a guy winning the belt, like the Masvidal Askren knockout. Like, is it a top 5 viral moment?
I'd actually say yes. Yeah, absolutely. I'll actually put it in the top 3 viral moments.
Yeah.
Like from recent memory, obviously, but I'd probably rank this and that Leon Edwards head kick knockout very close to each other, even more so than the Masvidal knee, to be honest.
The Izzy sort of possum.
Knockout
on,
that was another crazy one as well. And man, like you're talking about viral moments, you don't have to go any further than the main event of the card. This is moment like Dana White in the post-fight press conference said, "I sell, holy shit moments," and absolutely right, man. Like that. Name one other promotion, one other combat sport that delivers in spades like the UFC does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's one thing to have 1 or 2 fights, deliver. It's one thing to have for the longest of time, being boxing fans as well, we've seen boxing fights. It's always like a very top-heavy card. Like, now in recent times we're seeing the cards getting a bit more stacked, but traditionally it was all like, up-and-comers, and then you get like this one massive superstar fight at the top, and that was it, right? Whereas this was like top to bottom, and the each and every fight delivered. There was a story, you pick any fight, there's something to say about it. Any fight, man. I know there's some hatred towards the Aljamain fight. I just don't understand why. But even that fight, there was a big story there. The women's fight, like, the Andrade knockout, the Weili Zhang badass moment. Like, I mean, man, like, it was so much. Like, you know what I mean? Top to bottom, one of the best cards.
Yeah, it was a great showpiece event, and early lead for the best card of the year.
Man, I'm gonna just be bold and say, come December, we will say this was the best card of the year.
Yeah,
easy.
Look, I still think you never know with the UFC. John Jones, hopefully, we get that return.
Yeah.
There's obviously they're going to travel a lot. Manchester, Brazil coming up soon, but yeah, I agree. Look, on paper, the fights weren't like, oh man, these are the best fights I've ever wanted to see, but how they played out and the entertainment factor, man, it was. We're going to give our grades, so we'll give that at the end.
Yeah,
but start from the top, man. What did you feel? Did it deliver?
Fuck, man, delivered in spades. I think we predicted it, and we'll talk about our prediction. I mean, look, how close were we with our prediction? And we keep saying this. You guys need to follow us closely, because we're getting really, really good with these predictions. And because, look, obviously we watched the game. We're massive fans of it, and we kind of starting to understand how it works as well. So, like, man, absolutely, like, we're very close. I think the one mess up, and I think a lot of people had that wrong, was the BMF fight.
Yeah.
Right. And now going back to the main event, Alex Pereira, man, like, today we know that he fought with a broken foot as well.
Yeah.
Look, in the grander scheme of things, you can argue it's not the worst injury to have going into a fight.
Yeah.
But still, nonetheless, you're fighting another top tier guy. Look, all respect to Jamal Hill. He took this fight after tearing his Achilles tendon and with massive injury, comes back, takes the fight against a very dangerous Alex Pereira. He was obviously extremely confident in himself. We could see it throughout 5 weeks, throughout all the media he did leading up to the fight. Look, it obviously came up short, and it's too hard, man. When you have a good striker like Alex Pereira, right in front of you, and obviously everything he did in that round, for however long that fight lasted, was extremely technical. In terms of gauging distance, being able to, assess the opponent, everything, man. Like, he threw some leg kicks, checked a few leg kicks, he sort of understood. I wanted the most one of the just two things that were talked about a lot post UFC 300. One was the end of that BMF fight, right, and then the other was Spartan pushing Herb Dean back.
Yeah. What about the walkouts? Like,
because let's go back. Yeah.
I felt like Jamal Hill was like gonna give a better showing with how strong he was in that in that moment.
Did it have us fired up? Absolutely. I mean, look, we're coming off of the massive BMF fight, then the Weili Zhang fight, which I loved as well, and then you're going into this main. You're pumped up. You're pumped up for the action to continue. And then you're right, man. How do I not talk about the walkouts? You saw both of them come. I mean, we didn't in the live broadcast. We didn't see the angle where he grabs the arrow and breaks it. We see it later.
Yeah.
But how intense is that? I mean, look, I reckon Alex Pereira's walkout is one of the most intimidating walkouts ever. That music, the beat, and he walks out to the beat, walks really slow, and then he comes out, lets that arrow, and screams, man. Fuck, if I'm in the cage, I'll run. You know what I mean?
WWE. Like, that was one of the best, like, dramatic walkouts.
Man, it was so good. Right. And he actually comes further. I thought he always did it at the start of the tunnel, and then he walks out. But he actually, I felt, came a lot further. And then at the bend, he does it. But then, like, later on, seeing how Jamal reacted to it, he met that, like, sort of met that energy and, like, told him, come in and sort it out. You don't see a lot of people do that, right? Because you're fighting Alex Pereira. But comes in, and obviously, the fight ensues, and then, for me, that was a badass moment because he had already gauged the distance, and I think he just didn't want to disrupt that. So he had calculated what he was about to do. So I said, he brushes his nut shot off. I mean, literally balls of steel. Pushes him aside, and goes about business, knocks him out. Memes. Creates an iconic meme moment and then walks away. I mean, man, what more can you ask?
That was a BMF moment too, man.
Absolutely. I was surprised he didn't get a bonus. Like, I'm assuming he's getting paid a lot.
Yeah.
Right? But still, that was still bonus worthy. I felt like every person in this card deserved a bonus, to be honest.
Yeah. And we talk about, we'll talk about Conor McGregor's return too in this episode, but in an era where we've been talking, DJ, about the UFC wanting more stars or looking for future stars, like Alex Pereira for the UFC.
Absolutely.
it's a dream for them.
Absolute stud, man. And what he's achieved in the UFC in this short period of time, in this 3 years period, he's become the middleweight champ. He's become the light heavyweight champ. Not very many two-weight champions, right?
Yeah.
A handful, and he's one of those.
And he's come back. He's been knocked out
and come back,
and then come back.
And he belongs in that very elite group of double champions.
Yeah.
Right? And if you look at the names, man, it is indeed an elite group. You've got Alex Pereira, you've got Conor McGregor, Daniel Cormier, Amanda Nunes, and John Jones.
Yeah.
Right. So
he was born for this sport, and he's going to be He's going to be special, like in terms of with so much time left in his career. And what about the badass moment of him wanting to fight in Brazil?
Man,
go up to heavyweight.
He doesn't care about his broken foot, brushes it off. You see him look at it once and then goes and give me a fight at heavyweight. I don't know if they make the Aspinall fight. No. Probably don't like that fight for him yet. Do you know what I mean?
Like, you know that it's very unlikely.
Very unlikely. Plus, I mean, when he said give me a fight at heavyweight, he meant a fight. He didn't mean okay. But if imagine if he can beat Tom Aspinall. But he has a chance.
Yeah, of course.
It's hard, but obviously Tom Aspinall in terms of fight IQ. In terms of how he mixes it up, his grappling, it's a little bit harder, right?
We know he broke the record he's got hands of steel.
I mean, his nickname is Hands of Stone, right?
Yeah.
Man, pretty sick fight. My only regret with Alex Pereira is that he didn't come to the UFC any sooner.
Yeah.
Obviously, by the time he came, he was 34, and now he's I think.
But let me ask you, as impressed as we were with him, do you leave less impressed with Jamal Hill? Did you feel like he was more of just a temporary champ, or you were hoping to see more from him?
Look, I did think I was expecting a lot more closer fight. I mean, we did predict Alex Pereira to win, but I was expecting we said it when we did the picks. Like, it's a pick 'em fight because Jamal is no joke. Like he's badass. He comes forward. I mean, apart from that one defeat due to prior to this, that is the dislocated arm. Yeah, he's been beating guys. He's been knocking guys out. Yeah. Right. So I actually expected a lot more closer fight, but it just outlines how good Alex Pereira is.
It was always going to end, I think, in a stoppage. So I don't necessarily think Jamal Hill, his time will come. Yeah. I think, but to me, I was a little disappointed. It was clearly a divide, like a gap. Yeah. I was hoping it to be a bit closer.
I mean. Look, it was again very early in the fight too. Although, like Jamal was saying, I'm not going to grapple him or anything. I'm sure, and I think even in the interview with DC, he said, "Look, if the opportunity is there, I'll take it." That's what I was curious to see. I mean, we've seen Alex how he matches up with grappling when Jan Blachowicz took him down a few times. He still won that fight. Yeah. So, and Jan Blachowicz is really good. I mean, if you go back to the Israel Adesanya fight. He predominantly won by controlling Adesanya on the floor, on the ground. Yeah. So I was still more keen to see how Jamal Hill goes with the grappling exchanges. I thought he'd maybe get him down, and then the fight could get interesting. But we actually didn't stay that long to be able to see all that. But this was no fluke though. It was set up. Everything was technical. It was set up. Yeah. He kept going to the body. If you notice it, he set that up perfectly. And then he feints the right, goes in with the left. Man, and if you really look at the slow-mo, he doesn't even land flush. Yeah. It's the last three knuckles. And imagine the power this guy possesses. Man,
looks scary. My respect for Adesanya, it was high, but I feel like Izzy, can do a comeback. Like if he's locked in.
Fuck, man, absolutely. There's no question. To see what Alex Pereira is doing, and let's mention this too, he's defeated 5 champions or former champions? Yeah. And the only person to come and make him look average is Israel Adesanya. Yeah. Even in their first MMA fight in the UFC, I mean, I'm not going to talk about the old kickboxing fights. We've spoken about it a lot. In the first MMA fight, Adesanya was winning that fight up until the point, obviously, he got caught. The second fight, we all know how it went, right? He actually... I mean, imagine knocking out Alex Pereira, man.
The thing is that Izzy's different about Jamal is he can fight at more range. I think no one's longer than Adesanya, and if he's fighting at perfecting his range, and he can keep Alex at a distance.
And Adesanya's fighting is more technical.
Yeah,
in a sense, right? Yeah, because I think Jamal Hill's attitude was obviously no denying, right? Not just a champion, but any fighter, like you're a badass. If you're getting into a cage, you're getting into a fist fight, you're badass.
Yeah.
But sometimes that mentality alone is not going to be able to, get you the fights because when you're going up against Alex Pereira, he's a badass as well, and we know how hard he hits, but he's also extremely technical.
Yeah.
Right? Being tough alone and being fearless alone is not enough to win these fights, and we saw that. Right?
Yeah.
It's not just about biting down on the mouthpiece and going forward. When you get a technical guy in front of you, it's difficult, and that's why the Adesanya Pereira fight was so intriguing. Is because you're two technically sound guys going at it.
Yeah.
And you cut the angles, you use your fight IQ. Yeah, man, it's just that's the beauty of it. But man, Alex Pereira, the world is his oyster.
Yeah.
Right? I reckon, mark my words, this weight cuts are going to get harder and harder. So we will see him in the heavyweight scene, especially as you get older, you tend to see that happen.
Middleweight, I think, his days might
I
be
don't
over.
think so. I mean, how can, man, this guy, like,
he's too big.
He's what was his fight weight? 236 or something?
And didn't he rehydrate, within hours?
Yeah, 236, he weighed it on fight day. So, man, like, I don't think, I still can't believe how he made middleweight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Having said that, like, say, I know there's talks about Israel Adesanya fighting Alex Pereira again. Not talks, but just speculations. Or would he maybe not fight another fight in the 205 pound division? That'll, I reckon, be a harder fight for Israel Adesanya because Alex Pereira's durability is going to be a lot more.
Yeah,
because he won't be drained with a weight cut, etc. But it will still be a close fight.
Yeah,
but I just don't think that's going to be the next fight. I don't even know if we see that fight again. Maybe it's way later down the line. But I feel like the fight that makes sense the most for Alex Pereira next, as tough as it is, and I don't like this matchup for him, but you can't deny the guy because he's done everything the UFC's asked of him. He's beaten all the contenders. He's Magomed Ankalaev.
Yeah.
Right? We know the Dagestanis. We know they're tough. Man, he's pretty good on the feet too, but his wrestling is, it will be completely different to what Alex Pereira would have seen thus far.
Yeah.
So unless he catches him, it's going to be a tough fight. But that is the fight to make for the championship. You can't really see it any other way. I know Yuri got a really good win.
Yeah.
But maybe Yuri and Jamal go at it.
I could see Pereira doing the dual, light heavyweight and then heavyweight. If John Jones wants to fight again and he beats obviously Stipe or Aspinall, then I could see that tempting Jones, a Pereira.
Yeah, it's a big name. Could you imagine a world where Alex Pereira goes heavyweight, catches Tom Aspinall, gets the interim title, and then he's fighting John Jones all of a sudden? Could you imagine? I
could see that as a next big UFC mega fight.
I do rate Tom Aspinall very high, though. I think Tommy Aspinall is as good as they come.
He's the guy to beat.
Yeah, he's
and then obviously there's a good bout with Pavlovich coming up too.
Aspinall?
No, Pavlovich and
wasn't it Volkov? But they didn't. But that got scrapped for some reason.
Did it?
I feel they're trying to reschedule Pavlovich maybe.
Okay.
Not sure. Maybe I could be wrong. I need to look into that. But man, look, heavyweight is a different game.
Yeah.
Right? Especially, think even these are all mouth-watering matchups, but think Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane, another kickboxer.
Yeah.
And Cyril Gane moves really fast, right? We know that. We know how fast he moves. So many things. But like we said, man, I feel like, the world is his oyster now. He can kind of, dictate. To be a champion, to be that dominant, be a superstar, turn around. Obviously, I understand Brazil, hometown, he'd want to be featured there. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know. We've seen weirder things happen. But I think, he calls out for a heavyweight fight in things. So, man, badass.
Hardly took damage, like you said, fought with a broken toe and then broke another toe during the fight.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Shit.
So he had a pre-existing broken toe 3 weeks before. They weren't going to call it off. His camp said, I'm not, and then he broke another one.
Did you see the video of him breaking it? ESPN released it.
I didn't see it.
He doesn't even react. He kicks him, and then he's just looking normal. He's I think I broke my foot.
Apparently, it was a pinky. So,
boys, man,
it's you feel the adrenaline, but look, stiff not to get a bonus.
It was. I thought he deserved one. But hey, on that note, man, let's not count out Jamal Hill as well. He took a huge risk, comes back off a big injury, and goes up against one of the best guys in the world. Right. I'd love to see him bounce back. I think he's in good spirits. He wants to come back. Yeah. So I hope I'd like that Yuri fight.
Yeah,
because I don't think Yuri is ready. Because especially got knocked out. knocked out by Alex Pereira. So I can't see a case for an immediate title fight again.
Yeah.
So maybe Yuri and Jamal fight it, and
Yeah,
the
I
winner
like-
gets a rematch.
I like that, you know.
Yeah.
Even throw that on the Australia August one
Yeah.
if they want.
Yeah.
You know, that would be cool.
Oh yeah.
But look, yeah, both like with Hill, he's still a big name. He's gonna, you know, be around for a long, long time.
Yeah, and he's young.
A long layoff,
Yeah.
so you give him that grace period. Like he came back to a huge fight.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, it didn't go, you know, the distance, or it didn't look competitive.
Yeah.
But he's still, you know, a really scary guy.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
that division, man.
Absolutely.
But speaking of scary, right? What about the? Let's talk about the co-main in a minute.
Yeah.
But we have to then move to the BMF.
Yeah, the
right?
people's main event.
Yeah, the people's main event, right? I want to mention you. I even just forgot and just remembered the eye pokes. Like the amount of damage that Gaethje took earlier. Like, did Max surprise you?
Oh yeah, I did. He did, because we didn't pick him to win.
Yeah.
And you know how much, and I said this in the other episode too, you know how big of a Max Holloway fan I am. Like, I've always been a Max Holloway fan, right? Because that's why those Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway fights were hard to watch, because I like both guys. But even then, I didn't. One was how the Dustin Poirier fight went. I feel like Max was trying to tell us the whole time, like, that was a different fight. Watch me this time.
Yeah.
And he obviously proved so many people wrong, all that. But I was actually, so I was surprised, because I thought the Gaethje's power would be different. I thought like Gaethje would probably find more openings, and because one thing we've noticed with Max in the past fights is that, you know, how he's hittable. You
Yeah.
saw Alex Volkanovski landing. Even in the fights he's won, he does get hit a fair bit too. And I was thinking, you know, someone like Gaethje who fucking throws the kitchen sink at you, it's very hard to obviously, you know, obviously we know Max's chin hasn't been cracked. But that first round, man, before the hype walk and everything, Max won that first round. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
I was straight away. I was up on my seat, like straight up, because I was like kind of, I don't want to see Max get hurt. I also don't want to see Justin lose as well, because I like Justin Gaethje too. But then after that first round, I kind of sat up straight. I'm like, wow, Max actually got that round. And that last spinning kick that damaged his nose, I felt like that was a big factor.
Absolutely.
Right?
That changed
the course of the fight. It's unfortunate the eye pokes happen in both eyes, right? Within a period of a minute.
It is.
But Gaethje being the stud he's always going to say, yes, I'll fight, right?
Yeah.
He'll continue to fight. He pressed on.
Yeah.
Obviously, I felt, correct me if I'm wrong, but watching that fight, I felt the eye pokes didn't compromise his ability to fight as much as the nose damage was, because I felt like the nose probably was broken. 100%. It was probably blocked. He kept saying he couldn't breathe through the nose.
And he was, like immediately, as Rogan was saying, like he just kept having to touch it.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't talked about the Tim Tszyu fight, but that just shows you that one moment in a fight can change the rest of the course. You know, when he obviously got his head split.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like the Gaethje thing was similar.
Yeah.
Where, you know, you get your nose broken in the final second of the round. But hey, credit to Max for that kick, man.
Man, he timed it. He said he worked on it. He said he worked on that spinning kick. He threw it a few times in that fight, and he found success most of the time. But I think what impressed me, I mean, we all want to talk about that last 10 seconds. I mean, that's been the theme of UFC 300. But I do want to say, throughout the whole fight, Max impressed me.
Yeah.
I felt like, was it the fourth round?
He was winning. He was winning
the
fight.
The fourth round, maybe where he got dropped, I felt Gaethje got that round, which, man, talk about that. Sustaining all that injuries, and in the fourth round, Gaethje wins the round. I mean, that's Gaethje shows, man, that makes that last 10 seconds even more badass. But you know, the way Max Holloway minimized damage in this fight is what impressed me the most. He was extremely good. His boxing was top-notch, crisp, man. Like, my God. Like, the way he was evading, it was elusive. Like, Gaethje couldn't hit him.
Yeah.
Most of the time, he missed. I mean, a couple of times he got him, obviously, he dropped him. I think the commentary said that was the first time Max has been dropped. He's a canvas.
I feel like Max being in 3 wars with Volk, you know, and being taught a lesson himself with striking has helped Max. Don't you think he's looked better?
Absolutely.
Since that beat down from Volk?
Absolutely. And I also feel like he put the weight on the right way this time. He carried more power. I think the preparation, he said he sparred this camp. We've known traditionally that Max doesn't spar.
Yeah.
Like he trains, but he said he sparred for this camp.
Okay.
And you could see that. You could see the difference in terms of his angle management, in terms of sort of distance management. You know, his fight IQ, everything was on point. Right? Yeah. Even then coming back and getting that fifth round, that 10 seconds happened, man. Fuck, when it happened, what were you doing?
I was thinking, look, I want to see this. But I wasn't even thinking until after the fight, like how much he was winning and how much it was a risk.
It was such a huge
But
risk.
he just did not care.
He did not
you
care.
know.
Badass.
And you don't even think, like, if I told you, DJ, there was no 300K bonus, would you still think Max would have done that?
Yeah. Yes.
Like,
that's Max Holloway and Gaethje too.
Yeah.
They both do it.
So you can't
They
say
don't
it was for show, for money.
They're just badasses, man. Like, I feel like, I mean, it's hard to say, right? In an organization with about 600 plus employees who are all massive fighters, right? And then we've got some of these absolute badasses. It's hard to say this guy he deserves to have that BMF title. But man, you got to say, like, after that performance, after that ending, you got to say Max deserves it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that, for the first time, I feel like that was the BMF belt properly getting baptized. I know Gaethje had that head kick knockout. I mean, the first one was a bit of a, it was a stoppage, a doctor's stoppage. You don't stop a BMF fight, you know what I mean? And then the Gaethje one was pretty good. The head kick knockout, two tough guys again. But I felt like this one, that 10 seconds defined it, right?
And for me, because he was the underdog too, and he's a guy, as I said, with Volk, he's taken, it adds more authenticity for a BMF belt champion to have taken beatings themselves and then come back and given beatings as well. Like, you wouldn't want a BMF champ to be someone who's never taken a beating,
Yeah. I mean, I always knew that if this fight went the distance, Max is going to do that. I knew that. My doubt was always, and I'll openly admit it, my doubt always was, will we see the fight go that far?
Yeah.
I just thought it'll get finished.
Yeah.
I thought Gaethje will catch him. That was my thought.
Yeah.
And he didn't. And then when we got to the fifth round, I remember telling my wife, I'm like, hey, watch this. He's going to point to the ground. And man, when it happened, I was off my seat. I had like a can of Coke, which I spilled. I didn't give a shit. I was screaming at the top of my lungs. My neighbor messaged me asking if I'm okay. I was like, and then, man, so here's the thing. The fight already was badass. It was an extremely good fight. You were on the edge of your seat. Then the last round happens. It was even better. You're already like rushing, right? And then the last 10 seconds happen. That takes it to a whole different level. And here's the cherry on top. And then Max knocks him out.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
With 1 second left.
Oh, man.
That was equivalent to a buzzer beater if you're a basketball guy.
Best moment I've seen on live TV. You cannot, man. Like, this is why this sport is one of the best. You cannot replicate. You've seen, like you said, like obviously basketball, the buzzer beaters, cricket or rugby, whatever it is. You see these moments, but there's something special about this, man. Like, you're getting into a fist fight with another guy or another person, and then,
it was a true pay-per-view moment. Like, that's what you pay, your 60, 50, wherever you are.
Fuck, man, I would have paid more for that.
Whatever it costs. And it's also a viral moment. Like we said, we both agree top 5 in UFC history.
Easy, man. Max has now become a super-duper star. Do you know what I mean? But here's a question for you.
Yeah.
How good is How good is Alex Volkanovski?
How good is he?
Beat this guy 3 times, man.
Yeah. He is the freaking go still. And I know Dana slipped a little in the post thing saying Max is, arguably, up there, or is arguably the GOAT. And I'm like, yeah, I know in the moment he's hyping Max. And look, Max is in the conversation for a featherweight GOAT.
Yeah,
I'm not
absolutely.
I'm not saying he's not in the conversation, but you can't put him ahead of Alex Volkanovski.
You can't.
Now. I know Volk's taken beatings recently.
Just one. Like, I mean, the Islam one.
Yeah, but he's beaten Max 3 times. And so, look, they're both GOATs. Gaethje, my respect for Gaethje went up a notch too.
Man, absolutely. If Gaethje decides to come back and fight, I hope he does. Man, I read a post, right? I can't remember the user who put it up on Instagram, so credit to whoever it was. Man, I read this post like saying, to be honest, as sad and crazy as it seems, this will be the ideal retirement for Gaethje, because his career was like, it was a whirlwind, it was a storm. Like, he always brought the fire, right? And then to go all out, empty the gas tank, damaged, beaten, still goes to the middle, meets the opponent in the middle, swings everything, goes face down. That's Gaethje's story. Like, he's a warrior.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is the best way. I know Part of me agrees, but the other part wants to see him come back and get him because Gaethje's good, man. Like, it hurts me that we won't most likely see him fight for it. You never know. Look, last year, if I had said Poirier will fight for a title, would you have believed it after getting knocked out, head kick? No, yeah. So you never know.
But
crazier things happen. But
how about this fight? Would you love to see a hooker versus a Gaethje?
It's another guaranteed violence fight, man. But
look, obviously we're going to talk about what's been announced, and Poirier is going to get that, much deserved Islam
title
fight.
shot.
But look, I didn't entertain Gaethje retiring until you mentioned that. Has he?
I mean, he's always spoken about saying, "I've not got many of these in the tank. I've got one last run at the title." But because now that title run, I wouldn't say he's done, but halted, right? And you're seeing these new guys now creeping in, man. Like you saw
Saint-Denis.
Saint-Denis there, but obviously got knocked down a bit by Poirier. But you got Arman now in there. And obviously, Poirier is now fighting for the title. So we'll see what he decides. Either way, we hope we get to see Gaethje.
I think did I not text you mid-fight saying why doesn't he wrestle more?
Oh,
I think that surprised me. Like, he has the edge on wrestling.
Yeah, he does. He definitely does.
Talk about a guy who might be on the verge of retirement because he's taken so many beatings. Why not use his wrestling advantage?
That's true, man. Like, it's sort of his mentality as well. Like, it's an all-in mentality. But
Trevor Whitman, you know,
he's always, whenever his guys lose, man, he's laughing. I don't know what's going on. But hey, look, and what I loved about it, the fact is they like each other.
Yeah.
Max Holloway and Gaethje are all, like, I think they're friends.
Yeah.
And then they went down and did that. Could you imagine? Yeah,
they were on the phone with each other, like backstage.
All out.
Said they were.
I do feel, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, I do feel, say if that back kick didn't land on his nose and if his breathing wasn't compromised, I still think Max impressed me even before that. That first round was Max's, right? And Gaethje, we know, starts fast, right? I feel it would have been a more closer fight.
Yeah, 100%.
I feel, right? Like, I mean, think of this, right? Close your nose and walk up the stairs. You can't do it. Like, I can't do it. Like, Gaethje fought 5 rounds against one of the world's best. Here's the money question, though.
Yeah.
Right? This guy, we spoke about Alex Pereira having, the world is his oyster. If there is one person we can call shot caller with tons and tons of options, that's the Blessed Express, Max Holloway. What do you feel should be next for Max Holloway?
100% Ilya Topuria. I love that call out. Topuria has recently in recent days acknowledged it and said, "Look, by December, or we'll fight."
Yeah,
I think it's that's gonna happen now.
Yeah.
Look, Volkanovski's taken a step back. It's up for Max to carry the torch.
Absolutely, and I agree with you 100%, man. That's the fight to make. I don't think the 155 title is always going to be there.
Yeah,
whoever fucking ranked him number 9.
Yeah,
like he beat the number 2 guy. What the fuck is that? I understand it's his first.
Moicano made a joke. Like, I'm 10, Max is 9.
I understand it's the first fight, but come on, man. So you got, because there are 55 divisions. There's a lot going on at the moment. Even to get Arman's now in line. Mm-hmm. You go back and I think the 145 title. Not only is it now it becomes a mega fight.
Yeah.
Because we know what happened with Ilya Topuria. Yeah. Europe's behind him. Right? He's huge. He's a massive star.
Spain card.
And now we know Max Holloway is already a superstar. Now he's gone to a different level. Put them together, man. Like, I think it's like a fucking
main event for
easy. Like, don't put any other fight in there. Just that. The only thing, I do have a crazy suggestion though, and this fight could still happen afterwards, right?
Yeah. What is it?
So you fight Ilya. And look, it all works perfect, right? Because Alex Volkanovski then fights the winner of Ilya versus Max Holloway.
Hopefully.
And if it's Max Holloway, it's a perfect storyline because Alex can say, "Hey, I've got 3 wins over this guy.
Yeah.
So give me that shot." I think he still has whenever he comes back, it's for a title shot. We know that, right? Yeah. But it gives him the rest he deserves and requires. Say Max comes in and beats Ilya Topuria, gets the featherweight title, and like they're on the works to do the featherweight title, right? Like with Alex Volkanovski, let's say a certain Conor McGregor comes back and potentially registers a win in June, right? And calls out Max for the BMF title. He's like, fuck the other titles. Yeah. What do you reckon, man?
Yeah.
I mean, they've fought once before. Imagine that fight.
Man, yeah, I like. It's always good when a new guys come. Like, Max isn't new, but what I mean is, people counted him out.
Yeah,
and he's well and truly at the top of the ladder now.
Yeah.
With Ilya. But who was Ilya? Like, who was Ilya's next matchup going to be before this?
It was going to be Volkanovski.
Really?
It had to be
Was that
Volkanovski.
the talk again?
Yeah. It was.
Okay.
I mean, it does impact certain other players like Brian Ortega, who's coming off a win of Rodriguez, might have now wait a bit longer.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no denying you gotta capitalize on this
Yeah.
this performance by Max Holloway, right? You gotta get, and man, this Max Holloway is gonna be a threat, right?
And we'll talk about Aljo, who's registered a good win in 145 now. Look bigger.
And he fought Calvin Cater.
Yeah, look stronger. He outmuscled.
Yeah.
Calvin.
He manhandled him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got that. So yeah, man, absolute start of a fight. BMF, my favorite fight, not just at the card, but in a very long time. Props to both the guys for risking everything and for our entertainment.
Two worthy champions, like Gaethje would have been worthy, but $600,000
well deserved by Max, and hopefully Gaethje got a little bit extra as well.
Yeah, I think he did.
And Dana did say he's going to take care of some other fighters too, so which is good to know. All right, so we've got to talk about the core main, man. I know, look, sandwich between Alex Pereira and the BMF title was a Weili Zhang and Yan Xiaonan.
Yeah.
On a normal day, man, that fight would have had a lot of people talking because there was, you name it, right? And I agree with this comment. I saw a comment where it said Weili is probably the first fighter to win by submission, TKO, and decision on the same night.
Yeah,
right? Because she had her out in the first round. That fight should have been stopped. I don't know why it didn't get stopped.
Yeah.
And then there was a ground and pound moment in round 2. It kept going on, man. Like I was like, fuck, what the fuck? And you gonna stop the fight?
Yeah.
And then, but Yan was pretty impressive, man. I thought she was gonna get walked over, but no, man, she gave a good fight.
Honestly, one of the better women's fights that I've seen in a while. Look, for different reasons. Obviously, we saw the might, the dominance of Weili, but the grittiness, the guts of Yan to
come back.
I mean, but she was very, very lucky to continue surviving. I mean, how many chances do fighters get? Like I feel like maybe because of the Max fight that the UFC Dana and the judges were just like, look, punishment's gone to a new level. We're not gonna call a stoppage until you're out cold.
Someone said, thank God the same ref didn't ref the main event. Imagine Alex Pereira pounding on Jamal. Oh, man. But look, nonetheless, you're right. We saw the dominance of Weili, her fight IQ, the ability to say, okay, she's got this weird sidekick going, which, Jan's always been good at, and then it was causing a lot of problems for Weili. She was strong, but Yan matched that strength. So she quickly, switched to grappling, wrestling, helped her a lot. We saw she was absolutely dominant there. That second round was a 10-8 round. Interesting to see second round submission attempts, and she, her arms are shot. She comes back, no power in her arms, completely tired.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, this might be hard. And I think Yan took that round, to be honest, and landed some clean shots. I think dropped Weili as well. Then Weili comes back again. That's why championships are made of. When Weili's fighting, it's always going to be an exciting fight.
Yeah.
Right? So I absolutely love the fight. I just was a bit upset that, not upset, but I just feel like it should have said Weili by submission.
Yeah.
I think that was, man, she was gone. She couldn't get up.
Yeah.
Right?
Look, we've seen worse. We've seen a guy completely not even able to tap because he was already asleep. I think it was
it wasn't at that point, but
the short judge, what's his name again?
Herzog. Jason Herzog.
Jason Herzog missed one where a guy was completely out.
Yeah.
But for the fight of that magnitude, to make an F up like that, I mean, you got to protect the fighter. She was stumbling, because she was just waking up.
Yeah.
Back to the corner.
But it brings up a big question. Say, imagine you let these people continue, which in Jan's case they did. She came back strong as well. Is it giving them a chance? But it just draws, you're right though. It's about protecting the fighter.
Yeah.
Was there an absolute threat to the well-being and the health of that fighter at that given point? Yes.
Yeah.
So in that sense, should it have been stopped? Yes. Even that TKO, man, it was to the temple. So many shots, so many unanswered shots. So
very lucky moment, but then also unlucky in terms of another fight we'll talk about with Turner.
Oh, oh man, I'm gonna leave the room.
He wanted his own walk-off 300K moment, but the fighter wasn't even out. That's the complete opposite.
Man, I remember watching it and I'm like, wait, what the fuck's going on here? I thought the round ended. I was like, wait, what's the end? There was more time left on the clock.
And Moicano is like,
He's never out.
He's a guy that's like not out until he's out.
Until he's out, you got to put him out. But hey, the next fight actually kind of broke my heart. I know I picked Arman to win.
Yeah.
But look, to see it happen, and to be honest, man, it was a close fight.
Yeah.
To be honest, it was a split decision, which I thought rightfully so. But at the end of the fight, I thought either guy could win. Like this decision could go either way. And when Bruce Buffer starts announcing by names, this person, this for Oliveira, I knew I could split decision. Fuck. Because I did think those two submission attempts, one in the first round and one in the third round, were like threatening to end the fight.
Yeah.
Right? Especially that last one.
Yeah.
There's always the game of ifs and buts, but if another 10 more seconds, I reckon that's done.
The story for me and how impressed I was Arman, because I don't think any other fighter could survive that. And we saw recently news broke that he, practiced breathing techniques to survive a submission, and held his breath and did all. And he's, you see his real strong upper body, respiratory
the guy's
system.
A specimen.
Yeah, I think
he's a specimen.
That up there with Volk's survival of Ortega's thing.
It has to be up there.
Two of the greatest escapes.
Yeah. I mean, man, look, I've always liked Arman because he's very exciting to watch. Very few people can make grappling and wrestling like quite exciting to watch, even to the unknown fans, right? Fans who are not familiar with grappling techniques or wrestling techniques, it'd still be interesting. Arman, go back and watch Arman and Gamrot.
Great matchup. I would love to see that fight again.
All 5 rounds, why not 5 rounds? It's a big fight, right? Well, I reckon Oliveira is still in the game. He's still like 1 or 2 wins away from challenging for a title. I'm excited to see the Arman versus Islam whenever it happens. It could not be them two now.
Yeah.
I mean, what if Poirier wins? You never know. But yeah, look, I'm okay with the decision. I would also been okay if it had gone Oliveira's way.
Yeah.
I could see a case for that. I think verdict actually scored for Oliveira.
Agree. So Oliveira was so close.
So close, man.
It was toss of a coin.
Yeah, it was. Is this the reason I mean, look, I don't know if I spoke about this enough in the predictions, but the reason I picked Arman over Oliveira is that Oliveira, one, does take a few shots. Arman is extremely strong in terms of that, and he does land with power. But also, Oliveira is very comfortable to lay on his back.
Yeah.
Because he's got some great submission skills from his back. But what sort of is risky with guys like Arman, and we saw that with Islam too, they're strong grapplers, they're strong wrestlers.
Really, yeah.
They take top control, and they obviously work, and we saw that. We saw Arman did the same. So that's sort of what made me pick Arman, as much as it broke my heart. Like Arman, I think is an exciting fight. He's an interesting character. He punched someone on the way out.
Yeah, that guy
he flipped him off.
That fan said he's not going to sue.
Yeah, but he wants tickets for the McGregor fight. Man, I would ask the same.
Yeah. No, there was so many redemption stories, but Yuri Prakashka and Rakic, right? That was leading as fight of the night for me, like before the actual fight of the night.
Hey, before we go to that, though, we forgot one more guy.
Yeah.
Main card opener.
Yeah.
Bo Nickel.
Yeah.
Bo Nickel, Cody Brundage. Man, look, it was an interesting fight. Like, I mean, it was the hottest or strongest favorite in the whole card. But that first round was Brundage gave a good fight.
Very,
Like, he didn't. There was no. There was points where even like good scrambles. Brundage was sharp on the feet.
Yeah.
But then obviously second round ball gets a finish. I feel like the hate he's getting is a bit unwarranted. I mean, it's not his fault he's getting put in the main card. And he's fighting guys who's been put in front of him. Let's not forget, he's pretty new to MMA. He may be a lifelong wrestler, but he's pretty new to MMA. But
I feel UFC is doing the right thing. You see him as a future star, and yes, it might be a little premature to be in main cards of UFC 300.
Yeah.
But you can't say his performances haven't delivered.
You can't put that fight over the Yuri Rakic fight, right? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no,
you can't. It doesn't make sense.
No, you can't.
Yeah. Well, look. Either way, you got the finish, and then we got. So that was. I mean, between the two of us, we got 4 out of the 5 fights correct.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
it was a Gaethje. The BMF was the one that messed us up. And man, like you started it. The feature prelim. Yuri Prohashka, Alexander Rakic.
Yeah.
Far out. Like, what a fight.
Man.
You're right. Until the BMF, that was the fight of the night.
Yeah. But Rakic really impressed me
Yeah.
too. Like Yuri, I know what he's made of, but I was impressed with the comeback, obviously with his layoff. But
Yeah.
I mean, Rakic was winning. Like
Rakic
at
won
one
the
point,
first
right?
round.
First or second, yeah.
Rakic won the first round, and then obviously he got tired, but also like Yuri is very unorthodox. It's hard to fight someone like that.
It is, man.
And then he takes a shot, man. Like he takes a shot and keeps walking forward. Imagine that you land one of your hardest shots, and you see this guy keep going forward.
Rakic, did he look like a heavier guy to you?
Yeah, I mean Rakic has always been a big boy.
Yeah,
right. And he was like
he was backtracking. Like that's how like the force of Yuri started to win over that fight.
Yeah.
Like he got Rakic on the back foot.
Yeah, he landed a clean shot. I can't remember the exact shot, but that had him wobbled. And then, Rakic was on survival mode. And then the moment I remember is like Yuri manhandles him and grabs him and throws him on the canvas. And then bam, fucking ground and pound. But man, look, he got a bonus, deservedly so. But yeah, Rakic impressed me, man. Long 2-year layoff. I'm excited to say, maybe let's run that Jan Blachowicz fight again.
Yeah.
Jan Blachowicz doesn't have a fight yet for Rakic, that is.
Yeah.
And I reckon Yuri should take on Jamal Hill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've had some back and forth.
Yeah.
Just get that going. And then Alex could fight Magomed Ankalaev.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, two great warriors. That was one of my more exciting fights to look forward to. Like on paper, I mean, it was going to be fireworks.
Yeah,
I would love to see 5 rounds of that, but it probably wouldn't.
You don't need 5 rounds for that fight.
Yeah, what am I thinking? Yeah,
you never know. Remember that Glover fight, Glover-Yuri?
So do you think Yuri's really now? He's the number 1 contender.
Like, I mean, he had
officially
a big win, right? Big win off of a guy coming off of a layoff, having lost to the current champion against the TKO. I think, Ankalaev is still the number 1 contender.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, I would like to think so. I haven't seen the rankings, but
I thought Yuri in the rankings.
He's number 1.
I saw you. I think he is number 1 now, officially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Man, they really don't like Ankalaev.
Look, Pereira and obviously, Jamal.
Yeah.
Like Jamal's lost, so that Yuri's been bumped up to the number 1 contender.
Yeah, okay.
Now.
But why not Ankalaev? He just had a knockout win against Johnny Walker.
True. Yeah.
It's interesting. It's very interesting, yeah.
Let us know what you guys think.
Do you agree, disagree?
What else stood out to you from the, we're going to talk about Figueiredo and the earlier prelims.
I mean, to quickly fucking shoot through the whole thing. Figueiredo, what an opener. Figueiredo, Cody Norlove, Garbrandt. Figueiredo gets the finish, submission, pretty good. Diego Lopez and Sadiq Yusuf, man. Man, that uppercuts, how is he like, I thought it was life-ending. That's all about uppercut, finishes him. Diego Lopez is a very interesting prospect. He's been on a tear. Even that short notice fight he took against Movsar Evloev, who's a top-tier fighter, and he gave him the hardest fight, right? So
Mexican, right?
Mexican
Independence Day. They're talking about. He wants to get on that.
Yeah, get him someone ranked. Get him someone who Keita, he's lost now. Giga Chikadze hasn't fought yet. Maybe, and he's ranked 13 now. Is Ige 50K? Yeah, 50K can fight too.
He's been knocking some people out.
Andre Feely. Oh no, Ige knocked out Andre Feely, right? Yeah. So Ige, anyone ranked now? It has to be because he's ranked number 13. What other fights do we have? The Andrade, Marina Rodriguez. Man, Andrade is back. Vicious knockout against a tough opponent in Marina Rodriguez. Then
Kayla
Harrison. What a debut! All right, man. Look, it's one thing to talk the talk, come with the hype, and obviously at PFL the competition's different, blah blah blah. But to come in and you fight one of the best in the world in the UFC,
retire basically.
Man, talk about handling some. That was she got handled the whole fight. It was just I don't know why Holly decided to clinch, which was a wrong move, but she should have relied more on her striking, I felt. But, man, Kayla is a real deal.
She's so strong.
Yeah. Man, I don't even care about her fighting for the title anymore. I want to see her and Amanda Nunes.
Yeah.
I know Amanda was kind of getting some cryptic messages.
Mega fight.
But I guess the best case scenario would be Kayla wins the title.
Yeah.
And then Amanda comes back and they fight for the...
Unfinished.
That'll be one of the biggest women's MMA fights ever.
Yeah.
If not the biggest.
Get that on November, Madison Square Garden or something.
You got to still Kayla's talking about coming back in June, the McGregor card. So, yeah, I mean, if she does, then that's enough time to go back to Madison Square Garden.
We haven't talked much about Australia, and as that card's evolving, they're going to have to put some international people on it, right? Because
Volk, build the card.
Actually, Volk might be on it still, right? They might give him someone
if he wants to fight for another top fight, but I don't know if he wants to take on a non-title fight.
I think he will to stay active, because it's obvious Topuria is not going to give him the immediate rematch. I think Topuria wants to fight one other person.
I mean, it's all but obvious now that Max will fight the next for the title. Right?
It is, yeah. Topuria will sit out till December. And, they'll plan a Spain card just so they can they can cash in. And I feel like Volkanovski needs a tune-up.
It'll be good. It'll be good for him to get that confidence back, and look, I mean, we can see it, but he's also beaten all the top guys at the moment.
Get him in there against Emmett. Remember how Emmett was on the Perth card with Yair? And then,
Emmett's going to have bad memories of Australia, man. I'm not saying, it's an easy fight or anything, but, obviously, walk is walk, right?
Hey, maybe they could get O'Malley. That'd be cool.
Could you imagine? They would.
It's obvious Dricus and Izzy will be the main.
Yeah, he'll be the main.
They won't put a fight ahead of that.
I reckon Hugo will fight in that card too. I feel Hugo will fight.
Yeah, Jack.
Jack will fight for sure
against
Shavkat.
Yeah.
Fuck. And then or Bilal, you never know. They won't give maybe Bilal the title shot. And then
they won't do. Yeah, Poirier's already been announced with Islam. Yeah. Why didn't they do that on Saudi Arabia?
No, that's because they want Islam to be ready for the Abu Dhabi pay-per-view.
Abu Dhabi,
it's June, and then he fights again. I think he fights Arman.
Yeah.
What a fight that'll be! Or Arman versus Islam for the lightweight title. That would be massive. But hey, coming back to the card, obviously we had Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah.
Very good win against a tough Cater. Obviously, I know the crowd were booing. I don't know why they didn't give him a post-fight. Who makes that decision? I'm not sure, but if you win, I think they just probably didn't want the crowd to get riled up anymore.
Yeah.
Because if he had said it, whatever he had said, they would have booed him. But still,
there was talk in the post about the breaks between fights being a lot longer and have more advertising.
Okay.
Maybe they had some commitments,
but he was the only one who didn't get you know what I mean?
True.
And then, am I missing any fights? Oh, yeah, the Moicano, Jalen Turner, man.
Yeah.
Obviously, he thought he had the knockout. The way he went down, if he had followed up, I reckon he would have got him, but he didn't. Moicano gets up, comes back and submits him. What the fuck?
If anything, do you feel like now they're waiting a little longer on stuff? Like they're giving a person a little bit more leeway?
Maybe,
so you've got to jump on them and finish.
Yeah, but even if that wasn't happening, I feel like if your opponent's not fully out, you can't do a walk-away KO, right?
Yeah.
Not in this current, state, like you said.
So the guy fell on his back and, split seconds, like, 300K, viral moment.
Yeah.
Let me do
He's young too.
Let me do some theatrics.
Yeah.
Rather than actually.
He's young too, so obviously you learn from it. Look, he's still going to be a big name in that lightweight division. But yeah, Moicano then, he TKOs him.
Yeah.
Ground and pound. We didn't. We got all those fights, right? Did we miss any?
Yeah.
No.
And Dana will look after some of them. I think more,
named a few, but hopefully more as well. Man. And then post-fight press conference happens, and Dana obviously goes through the usual motions and decides to grab a paper and say, "Oh yeah, I've got some announcements." And fuck, man.
Well, wait. Apparently, the talk is that Arman was offered the Islam fight backstage, and for whatever reason, couldn't take it, and then they pivoted to Poirier. Yeah. So that makes sense why they got it all done
so quickly. And so they probably would have told Poirier, "Look, listen, if this is a fight offered, but not confirmed. Maybe they did that, and then." Based on the conversation, smart on Arman, man. It's a big opportunity for him to fight for the title. When you're fighting someone like Islam, if one thing we've learned from Alexander Volkanovski is don't take short notice fights with this guy.
Especially if he just won.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he got, he's got it taken care of and all of that.
And it was a grueling fight too. I'm sure he carries some niggles. So, wait and fight in October because that fight's definitely happening, right? Islam's not known for taking damage, man. So he's going to come back soon.
I'm happy for the OG Poirier to get the shot, after such an impressive win over Denis. Talk about one of the top viral moments to knock out Saint-Denis. That was probably leading my yearly viral moment so far.
Yeah, that was a good one, yeah. What's your prediction for the Islam fight? Do you reckon Dustin gets a guillotine and something?
Man, Look, I think Dustin's a tough SOB, and he's a worthy BMF belt holder. But I feel like Islam's
in another league.
Islam's going to take care of him.
Islam is in another dimension, to be honest.
And to be honest, even I don't ever see Oliveira beating Islam.
I don't think anyone currently in the lightweight sort of giving him.
Does he go up? Has he ever talked about?
Oh yeah, he wants to fight. I mean, it really depends on who it is, right? If
middleweights, right? Leon.
Welterweight.
Oh, welterweight.
Leon, yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
But
Leon,
it'll be interesting to see. I mean, here's a matchup that I'll be interested to see is if, say, Shavkat wins against Leon. Imagine Shavkat and Islam. That's a huge fight.
Jack.
Obviously, but if there's also talks that Shavkat wants to fight for the title, and if he gets the title, he's obviously going to pick the title fight over, right?
Yeah.
Bilal Muhammad deserves the title fight, but UFC has been dragging it.
Back to the notes about what Dana was going to announce. Finally.
Yeah, man. And then the big news. I mean, hey, we got to talk about the Sean Strickland one as well. Sean Strickland, Paulo Costa. It's going to be a maniac fight, man. Jeez.
That means Whittaker is clearly ahead. You're right. He's not getting the Strickland one, so Strickland's already a tier down.
Yeah, because he's fighting the guy Whittaker beat.
Yeah, Whittaker beat.
Right. So I think the idea is they want to push Hamzat, if possible, for that title.
Yeah.
But if he beats Whittaker, there's no denying, right?
Yeah, and then
you've got to get the
Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. Could you imagine that? Islam and Hamzat in the same card. Fuck.
Yeah, Abu Dhabi. But man, Whittaker, look, balls of steel, has taken a fight.
Yeah, it's a big fight. We didn't talk about that fight. Yeah.
No.
Whittaker took that fight, man.
Addressed it on his podcast. Look, ideal timing for the man. I think he likes to take Christmases off.
Yeah.
So it's probably look, I win this. And,
I'm nervous as fuck for Whittaker, but I'm also excited, man. It's a good fight.
Look, if there's anyone that can beat him in terms of a game plan, strategically, I think Whittaker can pull it off, and he was really impressive against Costa.
He was.
So,
and if the same Hamzat that fought Usman comes up, I reckon I'll give a good chance to Whittaker, but you never know, man. Hamzat's really good. I know there's a lot of hype, but he's really good as well. People talk about how Gilbert Burns did this and that, but we've got to remember, Hamzat was new at the time, and he went toe-to-toe with Gilbert Burns. We need to remember that too. But yeah, man, the big one was obviously June 29th.
Yeah.
The Mac is back.
The Mac is back.
Finally.
Yeah.
They make that big announcement. It seemed inevitable.
Happy for Chandler.
Yeah, man. He waited it, right? He waited it out. Everyone was saying, don't, just take a fight. He put his faith in the UFC. And look, Conor McGregor gets a lot of shit from a lot of people for a lot of things, but there's so many things that Conor does that's quite upstanding, man. He's another BMF. He fucking never turns down a fight.
Yeah.
Injury or not, he always fights. Never pulled out of a fight. Always made weight. And whenever he said something, he's done it, right? He said, if he says this is a fight, this is a fight. And
it's been a while, but the Contender Series,
I forgot about
it. It's like finally, that was the aim, unfinished business. It's I think they've already had a Contender Series since.
It's happening now. Yeah. Valentina Shevchenko.
Since the last.
I'm like, man, I forgot about that Contender Series. I can't even.
Well, that's how they got the Chandler.
Yeah, that's true.
And it was a flop, I think, the Contender Series. I mean, the aim of them being the coaches, and McGregor didn't have one fighter win. No,
one. Yeah. Who came from Chandler's team. But he was his teammate outside of Tough. But yeah, man, I knew this was going to get announced or something along the lines of McGregor will happen that week. But I was expecting a bigger reveal.
Yeah.
I thought hey, Corey Main finishes, right? Yeah. And the place goes dark, the screens come on, and
well, Dana was asked that about, did you ever think about doing the graphic on the stadium?
Yeah.
But what he said actually shows that they actually stick to their word. They announce it only when it's done. Or as soon as it's done, they will announce it.
Chandler probably signed it when he was in the stadium.
Yeah.
He was at T-Mobile.
Yeah, and Dana's reasons were what we thought. The busy schedule. The movie. Promotion Max had, and Max, just wasn't able to train properly.
There's no way that the UFC would ever do wrong by McGregor.
Yeah,
and McGregor also, vice versa, loves the UFC. Man, they will always be there for each other. I feel so.
Oh, I can't wait to see what's the card though. It's going to be Fight Week.
It'll be
right?
No.
It's International Fight Week.
It's International Fight Week. It'll be a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It'll be similar to the Poirier McGregor 3, because remember that was International Fight Week too.
Oh yeah,
McGregor Poirier 3. Traditionally, Conor McGregor cards you won't get any other champions.
true.
So, but you'll get some strong fights, I reckon. Oh, hopefully.
Yeah, and then that should line up with Madison Square Garden again. Should McGregor win, right?
Imagine
Maybe
a
a
McGregor
Diaz. Well, here's what I think: if McGregor loses,
Diaz.
they'll move to more novelty fights
Yeah,
for McGregor,
Yeah.
like a Diaz.
Yeah.
If McGregor wins, like you said, they'll feed him to. Yeah, he'll shoot above anyone else and fight for the.
And whoever's a champion would say yes because it's a payday. I mean, you get to fight McGregor, biggest payday because you got pay-per-view points.
Yeah.
The best case scenario for a champion is
and bragging,
for McGregor to fight McGregor.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Yeah. Maybe he wants to avenge the loss to Poirier. Let's say Poirier loses.
Yeah, that could happen.
Poirier would accept another
payday,
like a retirement fight,
payday,
maybe against McGregor, and for my legacy, I'm going to beat you again.
And I mean, it's tough. It's a tough fight, but I mean, Islam as well. There's a storyline there, with Khabib. But look, we're talking about this, but what if Poirier beats Islam, right? And if McGregor wins, they will make that fight, man. I can guarantee you.
Yeah.
They'll make it. I mean, it bodes well for the UFC for McGregor to have a belt.
Yeah. 100%.
You know what I mean?
Even if it's BMF, if it's whatever.
I reckon they will push that BMF angle too. Even if Max loses, I mean, this fight has not even been announced, but let's just say hypothetically Max comes up short against Ilya.
Yeah.
That BMF title will still be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then getting McGregor, like say if McGregor loses or wins, that McGregor attached to the BMF title in some form is, is a massive fight, money-making fight.
It will,
box
man.
office.
I feel like it's rejuvenated the BMF. Like even to your own words, you weren't exactly clamoring for it, and most people were as well. So that's nothing different.
Yeah, I just saw two guys just giving up their number one contender because they're clearly the next to fight for the title, and they're fighting for this, and then the loser's going to suffer the consequence, which he did. But man, you can't complain about that.
It just goes to show if you take a risk now, it can create more buzz, superstardom, like you said, with Max Holloway. But look, man, we can talk about it for hours.
It's one of our longest episodes, but rightfully definitely. So. It's a massive card. So yeah.
Yep. Well, look, what's coming up in terms of the pay-per-views and the fight nights, we'll have it covered. Some boxing that we have to talk about as well with Paul Tyson, Ryan Garcia.
Ryan Garcia fighting this month.
Haney.
Next month, Fury Usyk as well. It's a big one there.
Yep. And if you haven't already, check out our first guest, our interview with pro boxer, Australian record of 3-0, Adam Spall, and another guest to come through shortly. And we'll look out for our next episode on That's a Tap. It's been CT and DJ live in person to do our recap of one of the biggest cards in UFC history. But before we get out of here,
we gotta do something, yes.
Right.
But, hey, I was about to mention we even got the graphics in the back, and you see we painted the wall yellow, UFC 300 colors. To match the event.
Right. Who's gonna go first? Right.
I go first. I went first last time.
All right, man. I've been going back and forth, man. Am I a prisoner of the moment? All of that, and I've settled on. I'm gonna give the card a 9, like an even 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Close to as good as a card can be. Yeah. But I still think there's a card out there that can get a 10. Yeah. But that doesn't take away from how great it was. The storylines, the legacies will live on. I know we didn't talk much about Jim Miller, but congrats to him. The OG from being in 100, 200, 300.
We didn't talk about that.
Joe Rogan.
Thanks for reminding. That's how stacked the card is, man. Yeah. Bobby Green, massive performance, but shout out to the OG Jim Miller, 100, 200, and 300. Yeah. Tough fight. We learned he broke his hand.
Yeah. Stitches, he shared the thing, man. Just what a warrior, man.
Shout out.
Hopefully he's here for 400, man. Mike Tyson's fighting at 60. No, he's a future Hall of Famer. Yeah. So glad we got to mention him. But what's your score?
All right, so same thing. For me, this was like a near perfect card. Right, seldom do you get cards that perform top to bottom. Right. Yeah. A blockbuster card, every performance delivered, championships, badass moments, viral moments, meme moments, you name it, it's there. Crowd was insane.
Oh.
Everything, man. It is one of those moments. Everything tied up. Everything came together. Yeah, I'm going to settle with from an analytic point of view, 9.5.
Yeah.
Only because same reason you said, like, yeah, this could be something
Yeah.
that could surpass it. Like, we've got McGregor coming back, Islam's fighting, and all these kind of things. We never know, right? At the Madison Square Garden, but still 9.5. Like, from an analytic point of view, from a fan point of view, I'd say 9 because Oliveira didn't win.
Yeah,
I think that would have made me like a perfect fan moment. Is that Oliveira also wins because
it lacked a surprise result, like as in like a huge upset storyline.
Yeah, I mean the match
like
was an upset, but
yeah,
we sort of saw how the fight was going through the second round. So
exactly, like the respect of Max, you could see him winning, but a card like let's say the main event was the the Rose, so the Leon Edwards,
that like we
head kick.
like that.
Like, let's say that was the main event, then it'd be a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you say the Moicano?
Oh, man. But, hey, look, Xiao Nan, we're going to go wake her up. Because...
There's a whole controversy about that. Like, how did they wake her up? She opened her eyes and she woke up.
Unbelievable. But, look, it's a good market. The Chinese market was apparently 30 billion views now. At the time of the press conference. One of the Chinese reporters said, so look, they'll go to China with that.
But they love Weili.
Yeah. Hopefully Amanda Nunes, maybe we don't, we haven't seen the end of her.
Yeah.
The fact that we got those big announcements at the end with the confirmation as well just made the night even bigger. But look, we look forward to that 10 one day, but maybe it's going to be UFC 400, Look, the cards come around real quick.
Yeah.
It's going to be a letdown, like these fight nights and all of that to come after that. But look, the UFC just continues to outdo itself, man.
Absolutely.
So we're blessed to be able to talk about it, to watch it.
Perfect word
to
use.
And this
blessed
is
Holloway.
This is our recap. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you soon.